JF Stretford, Paddock, this is the Brew. Thanks for joining us. We're live, and joining me are two of my favourite Manchester United fans. We've got Abdullah.
It's good to be back, man.
Good to see you, man. I feel like I've not seen you for ages.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a minute, hasn't it?
Getting ready for next season. Hopefully be on a lot more.
Yeah?
Good.
Oh, yeah, 100%. You ain't got a choice in the matter. Also, as well, someone else who's not got a choice in the matter who's going to be on again a lot in the future is Andre. How's it going, Andre?
I'm not too bad.
Yeah?
How are you?
Branded up here. What's this?
Hey?
Stephen Alson will be proud of you.
Stretford, Paddock FC.
Do you know what I mean?
Got it yesterday. Janine was, I think it's like a prototype. She was chucking it out, and I was like, I'll have it.
It's good.
I might as well.
That's all right.
Do you know what I mean?
Free clothes.
Yeah,
I'll
free
take
clothes.
it.
You can't go wrong. Times are hard. Cost of living crisis.
Could be worse though. Could have a PP.
Paul Pogba.
Yeah.
You not get the memo?
Pog
Left
back
us,
soon.
Left us, bro. Do you know
He's
what I
not
mean?
making money off his documentary. You know, you gotta give him a hand somewhere.
Have you seen that documentary?
No, I've not. You know, I can't.
It's
be
been
bothered.
getting bad reviews on it.
You know why? It's
Go on.
not. I actually like Pogba. Obviously,
I know you do.
I do, but as much as like I didn't care when he left because it just made sense. Like it didn't work out. It's just. It's going to be frustrating watching it because it's just going to be like, oh yeah, he's trying to sign a contract, and it's just a load of failures. Like, what is the documentary? Like, if you're not really winning, if you're not doing anything, like, it's shit. Like, in a sports documentary, just in general, like, anything you watch, basketball, football, you want to see someone winning.
You need a hook, don't you?
Exactly.
You need like with the sort of Last Dance, there was something there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like with this, it just seems like a home video.
Yeah.
He won
You know what I
nothing.
mean?
He won nothing in that time.
Yeah, and there's not even a move in it, is there? So it just seems a bit
Exactly.
pointless. The reviews have been brutal. Make sure you're hitting like on the video as well, please. Got over 700 people watching, less than 50 likes. Let's get to 500 likes by the end of this video. I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about Manchester United's pre-season squad. That's been announced, so we're going to get into that. The big news there is no Ronnie. I think we already knew that, didn't we? So we'll get into that. Maybe there's a chance of him joining up later. We'll find out there. Also, this double striker swoop. Abdullah, with me and you, I feel like it's 2019 all over again. In fact, 2019. Do you remember when me and you were sat in the old studio talking about Paulo Dybala coming to United?
I'm a massive Dybala fan,
Yes,
but so I'm going to be a bit biased here, but I think we've had a couple of chances where we could have signed him and that. I think he's a brilliant footballer, by the way. Like, I think he's a fantastic footballer. I've watched a lot of him at Juve. If you ask me what his best position was, I tell you he was off the strike. I think there was a season him and Higuain at Juve were really good together. Him and Mandzukic. I think he's one of them where he actually looks for his teammate a lot, but he's also got like that shot on him from the edge of the box. People always say he's more of a right winger. I think that's where it's gone wrong for him at Juve because managers have misused him. We've seen that happen with like Mata with us, where he's on the right, and because like he's left-footed, he can cut in and like do whatever from there. He's done that, and he's been shuffled out to the right a few times with Allegri on both occasions when Allegri came back and at the start. So I think he's been misused, but he's a player that can play as a sole striker. I've seen him do that. I think the time when Paul Pogba was there and they played a season together, him and Morata played a bit there, and he played very well off Morata, but a lot of the time he'll be the sole striker, and he'd cause a lot of problems in behind defences. If he comes short to feet, he can spin quickly. And I think around technical players, as we've seen in that Juve season, where Paul Pogba was last season, basically there at the time, from what I watched, Marquisio and a lot of the players there, like we can give and go with him. On the turn, he's quick, great finisher. And I think people seem to have this perception of him where, I don't know, it's mainly online where, he's not going to be a hard worker, he's not going to come in and you know, he's going to be another one of them signings for United that's just come in and get the money. Actually, at Juventus, a lot of the Juventus fans love him there, and they're sad to see what's happened. And he actually, for the last 2 years, his contract, he's been waiting to get a contract off them. He's not got it. They mistreated him for a player that's given his heart there, and he works hard off the ball. I think people have this perception of him as a player that's incorrect when you actually watch him. I think him and Brobbey, which we're going to move to, if you're going to lose someone like Ronaldo, you bring in a Dybala plus like a hold-up number 9 or a box number 9. I think you need to give Ten Hag the best option to find the style that he wants in the team, whether he wants someone who's technically gifted like Dybala, who's going to come short, or he wants someone like Brobbey, who's going to, you know, he can receive short as well, but he's going to play a lot of his game in the box like Haller maybe.
Yeah, some good points. I knew you'd be all over this. I remember our conversations a few years ago. Good lad. Andre, we'll get to Brobbey in a minute. We'll start with Dybala there. Obviously, Abdullah making some great points there about the way he plays and how that would fit in, and perhaps even you'd maybe need another player to come in, especially if Ronnie's on his way. What do you make of the Dybala rumours? Because I'll just give a bit of context. I think it's Rob Dawson, who's a friend of the channel. He was on here the other week with Joe. A really good chat. He said United have been approached about the possibility of signing Paulo Dybala. His reps are keen to strike up interest from Premier League clubs, including United. United insist any interest in Dybala does not change their stance that Ronaldo will not leave. So we'll get to the Ronaldo bit in a minute. But just on the Dybala front, is a player you'd have?
I think, after hearing Abdullah there, I'm thinking, we should definitely
He's a salesman, isn't it?
We should definitely probably
He does it all the time with his players and me.
I need to be his rep.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I don't really know much about him. Then I chat to him, and I'm like, yeah, let's get him
as an agent or something. But yeah, no, literally, because it's a bit like Ericsson, right? When you hear those names, the first thing you think of is these are players that we were linked with a while back.
Yeah.
Why are we linked with them again? Aren't they a bit older now? They're not going to be quite as good. Blah 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 blah. But we're worse. These players aren't necessarily worse. We need these players. Get them in. Because I think it's interesting with Dybala, because you were just saying it then, Abdullah. I always think of him as a wide player or a number 10. I always forget him as a number 9. But we need a number 9 so badly now. I think Ronaldo's gone. I think it's very similar to how he was with Juventus last year. He just decided that's it. And what can you do?
Yeah, it's very
what
much
can
like
you do?
that.
Literally, what can you do? So it's we desperately need it. If you look at the attackers, and we're going to do it in a bit later, look at the attackers going on pre-season tour. It is so weak. There's literally, you could argue Sancho is the only attacker in there who will definitely be starting next year. You then got Martial, Rashford, and then a load of youngsters. We need numbers. It's not really a time where we can look at players like Dybala and be like, we need players to come in. He's a top player. I'd take him. But the only thing is, does he want to be at United? If he didn't want to be at United, I'd happily take someone like Belotti over him. Because I feel like players like Belotti, they're a little bit more low-key. They pounce at a chance to play at United. Dybala, it's a bit more... I'm guessing it's going to be a bit more like, do I really want to go to United? Do I want to play? I feel like we've regressed so much that we need to go for players who... I want to be at United. I'd happily sacrifice a bit of talent, a bit of ability for a player like Belotti who will come in, and I'm guessing he'd want to be at United and just graft for a season. However, if Dybala does want to be there, get him in. Yeah,
because that was the issue last time when we were linked with him. There wasn't the case of Andre saying there that was he good enough for all that. I think a lot of people were keen on that move. A lot of United fans were getting very excited. There was a sort of question marks about how much he wanted to be there and how much it was just a case of getting a massive payday, because I think the wages that he was asking for were quite high, and I think that put the club off a little bit, because it felt like a little bit like another Alexis Sanchez scenario where you're forcing the issue with throwing money at the kid. This might be a little bit different because he's not quite his start isn't shining quite as bright, and it might be he's not on the sort of... it was touting about 400k a week last time. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that this time round. Do you think that would be an issue, though? The whole element of, does he want to be here? And are we forcing a bit? Because it sounds like his agent's just saying anywhere in the Premier League rather than Manchester United in particular.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. You've got to know, does he really want to be here? When he came, I remember when Juventus played United at Old Trafford and he scored that goal, him coming in and taking a picture and then saying theatre of dreams, things like that. Maybe he's got some sort of thing about the club, but I don't know. Obviously, we don't really know. I think we always say these things, but it's the club has to do their work and due diligence to find out, does this player want to be here? Are they committed? Because we know the effects that has on the dressing room, and an unhappy dressing room, no matter how much talent you've got. We've seen that with Man United last season. A dressing room where you've got a player on 300, 400k, he's not playing and he's turning to his teammate and he starts chatting shit about the manager. That's going to cause big problems. And we've had that at United. And for me, it's got to change. I think that culture and that's, Dre indicated with Belotti. And I do agree with that. I think I would sacrifice that bit of talent for someone that wants to be there, because it makes the whole environment a lot better and it gives you more of a goal to go for as a team and work as a unit. And I think from the reports we're hearing the last couple of days, is something Ten Hag wants to do. In terms of Dybala, though, like my final point, I think if he comes in, you've got to bring another profile of a striker. It can't just be him. You've got to give like an option for Ten Hag of ways of playing. For me, he in a front two, I think that's his best position. If you're playing a diamond, or you play him like slightly on the right where he's got a chance on goal but not further on the touchline. I think where his career actually tailed off was the season where, I forgot if it was Allegri or not, where he's actually ended up playing on a touchline when he got moved from centre forward. A lot of the work he was doing, I think 15-16, if we remember, everyone remembers this game, maybe like Barcelona, he scored 2 goals, brilliant goals, one on the edge of the box, and I think one was inside, like Juve blew them away 3-0 in the Champions League. It was a decent Barca side. And in that game, he played centre forward. The season after that, he played on the touchline essentially, and he wasn't as effective. So if you bring him in, he's got to be slightly central, and he's got to be off like a quick forward. I think he'd be good with like a Martial, a Rashford. It's about getting those guys up to speed, and we'll have to see. To be honest, it's a decision to be made, and if Ten Hag feels it's the right thing to do, and he trusted them, we should go for it.
I like that thought about if Ten Hag trusts him. That's the big thing for me. Getting behind this manager and trusting his judgment. We'll get in some of the chats and then I'll get your thoughts on Brian Brobbey, who's another one who's just sort of come out of nowhere for me, really, to be honest with you. We've got It's Echo has joined the first team. Thanks for your support. Welcome to the team, brother. Polly 160 says, cracking lineup today. Up the Paddock and Jay wearing a hoodie in summer. Hardcore. Bro, I wear my hoodies and parkas in summer. Do you know what I mean? It's never too warm for a hoodie.
You do.
Andrew says, let's don't talk politics. Dybala will die here in the Premier League. He's a lazy player. If you can't play in Italy, you're dead in the Premier League. I mean, he's sitting on the fence there, and he's not really giving us his opinion.
He has played in Italy, though. He's played well in Italy.
Done it in Italy.
I mean,
he's only 28.
I think he's just not a Dybala fan. Hip Hop Juice, trademarked, says, forget Dybala. This is true. I'm reading it here. Forget Dybala. We need to offload Maguire. Drive to a desert and leave him there. Semi-violent, some of these. They're getting a little bit brutal, some of these comments here. Do you know what I mean? It is, not really feeling it. There are better strikers out there than these two, says Sick Boy. Andrew says Dybala is well past his sell-by date. Adam Scott says Dybala or Eriksen, not both, take either. Liam Jennings says James Rodriguez all over again. Hit that like button. Hit the like button.
They're very like. I think the issue with Dybala is
a
lot of people haven't watched him enough to know what certain managers will use him in certain ways. Dybala as a centre forward or as a second striker was one of the best players in that role, and his numbers back it in the Champions League. Like I said, the Barcelona season where he bagged them 2 goals in Turin, like he had an amazing performance. That whole season he was class there. The last season with Paul Pogba, he played off Morata, Higuain. Like I've watched enough of this guy to say he can do something in those roles. But I do agree with people when they're saying if you're buying him as a number 10, if you're buying him in Eriksen, James, whatever, he's not going to be effective at all. He's not got the pace to keep up with the league to play on the touchline. He's not going to take up Bruno or Eriksen's roles in this team because it's not what United need. So, like I said, if Erik Ten Hag sees him as a centre forward and can play him in the role that we've seen him, like at Old Trafford. I mean, he played against us at Old Trafford. He spent a lot of time in the area that day, and he scored a goal against us that day. So, a pretty good number 9 goal, actually, where I think Cuadrado might have crossed it or Ronaldo forgot on the right, and it bounced back and he finished it.
He hit it across, didn't he?
Yeah, so, again, like I've seen enough of him, and I do get people's concerns because if you're going to play him as a 10, then it's just, there's no point signing him and you're going to cause problems in the squad.
He's just another 10, isn't it? It's like we've just got, we're getting rid of Lingard, we're getting rid of Mata. We're getting in Eriksen, we've got Bruno, you don't want another one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's interesting though, like, Martial is going to get another chance here. And like,
do you think, I mean, this might get you excited. Do you think Martial will get another chance? Do you think that what we're seeing with the Ronnie maybe going, the fact that, okay, even if Brobbey or Dybala come in, it's still not a big money out and out number 9, is it? You still think that there's a chance that your boy there could be have a part to play?
The thing is with Martial, man, like, obviously I've said in the past that I'm done with like the whole Martial thing because of he just looks. I think he's actually been affected with the groin injury I think he was, or like when he come back from that. I think it was after the Sevilla game actually. He got that. He missed a couple of chances in that semi-final in Europa League. Everything just tailed off after then because that season was his best season at United. I know a lot of people say it's his first season under Van Gaal, but I actually think that was comfortably his best season. The City, the goals against City, the derby. the performance, the link-up play with him and Rashford. And I think even when Rashford got injured, him and Bruno seemed to do really well together.
He got like 17 goals, didn't he, that season?
17 goals without any penalties in the Premier League. So that was very impressive. The issue is can you get him up to the level of fitness and standard and being interested in working under Ten Hag? That's something, again, you got to leave to Ten Hag. Is he a talented player? Yes, he is. It's the same case with a lot of players. I've seen a lot of players go under Erik Ten Hag and look completely different as they've done, and they've done it in the Champions League. It's not just about the Eredivisie. If you look at Tadic, those performances against Real Madrid in the Champions League prove, a point in terms of like what Ten Hag can do to a player. I think if you look at Haller, I thought when Haller was at West Ham, I actually rated him because he did really well in the area. He always got chances. I think it just didn't work out for him, and he got the best out of him. So you're looking at the levels that Ten Hag is putting these players at, and we've seen it. It's not impossible because Martial's more talented than Haller, like for the level that he can be. So
he'll
got
get
to see what
coached.
Ten Hag could do.
Ten Hag will coach some players. There will be players in this squad now who we have written off. I guarantee it. Who Ten Hag will work with, coach them, and we'll be shocked at how much better they are than they were last season. We've just got to hope that Martial's one of them players. Same with Rashford. But it's just because that attack right now with Ronaldo leaving, it's so bad. It's literally.
Can you see Alanga playing up front?
Yeah, he might feature, but he shouldn't be like a starter.
Yeah.
He needs to be. You know what I mean? Like
he needs to be like the backup to a couple of those attacking roles.
Yeah, some players like Rashford and sort of Martial, they get thrown in and just perform. But that's not naturally how you should do it with a player. If you look at what happened with Greenwood, he was blended in, and that worked. You want to be doing the same with players like Alanga. You don't want to be just chucking them in. But like I said, the attack's so bare right now. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let us know what you think in the comments as well. Michael Jennings says it'll be nice having McFred starting every game. It's like management fell from the top of the stupid tree and hit every branch on the way down. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. 250 likes we're on. Let's get to 500 likes. Over 2,000 people watching. Come on, people. Hit that like button. You might not like what's going on, or you might like what's going on, but you can like this video. You've got the big boys out. You've got Dre and Abdullah. Manchester, I'm going to say, what is it? Where you're from?
Leamington Spa.
Spa.
Yeah, it's not Manchester.
Randolph Turpin country.
That's it.
Yes. Hey? You know who Randolph Turpin is?
No.
World champion boxer.
He beat Sugar Ray Robinson in his prime, eh?
He battered him. I remember.
Eh? Do you know what I mean? Still spoke about it to this day in Leamington. Yeah, so make sure you hit like. Right, let's talk about Brian Brobbey, because we're going to test you two here. Your knowledge. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not the European football connoisseur that you two are, right? I wear me out on my sleeve. I don't pretend. Maybe I should do more homework.
British only. Brexit.
Brexit means Brexit. Leave means leave. Do you know what I mean? I'm gutted Boris is going. I'm not, by the way. So I'm not like you. Up. I'm not sat at home every night watching Arriva Divisi or whatever you want to call it.
Arriva Divisi. Sounds like
Arrivederci.
Arriva Divisi. When's the next drop?
Yeah, or RB Leipzig religiously. I'll watch a bit of Champions League and I'll watch the odd occasional game from overseas. But you guys do your own work. Brian Brobbey, did you know much about him? Be honest. Don't try and flag it.
No, I'm not flagging it.
You're such a football nerd, and I say that with the ultimate respect.
Yeah. I don't think you need to be the ultimate nerd to know like who he is.
I think, but don't really know who he is. Did you know much about him? Though? Everyone can know who he is. Have you seen him?
Yeah, I've seen him. I think last season, it was weird when I think he pushed for a move from Ajax. I was interested to see where he was going to go. Obviously, he really wanted to work with Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann moved to Bayern, and he was frustrated because I think he agreed the deal towards the end of that season. I think it was in the Europa League they played, Ajax. He performed really well there in a couple of games I watched. I think what he can give you is a lot of the time he receives the ball, he'll pop it back into the midfielders. He's not one to like, you know, we see the same from like Martial sometimes. He'll receive the ball, he'll be on the turn and he'll spin off. I don't think he's that type of player. I think he's more like give him the ball, he'll hold it up and give it you back. In terms of getting into the area, he gets a lot of chances. The issue is his finishing. From what I've seen, but like again, I'd actually have to see more shots from him and actually go research him. From what I've watched, he's a good hold-up player. He's clean in terms of like receiving the ball and giving it back to you, and then getting into dangerous areas. So again, he's in that mode of like understanding Ten Hag's game. And if Ten Hag, again, it's going back to the point, if he wants him, and Ten Hag, as we know, likes those technical players, likes to have a team that controls the game, controls the tempo of the game. We've seen that with Ajax. Then he's not going to bring in someone who's going to treat the ball like a bomb and then just, be all over the place. I think Brobbey's going to be one of them where it's like, if Ronaldo leaves, you bring in a main striker and then he's your backup option. If someone comes in for Martial, it looks like they're struggling to sell Martial. Mm-hmm. So now they're accepting, like, we've got to try and make it work. And if someone does come in for Martial, you've got Brobbey now who takes that role and you bring in a main striker. I wouldn't bring him in and start him. As much as I think he's actually got talent, he's got potential. I think he's 21 now. Obviously, it didn't work out for him at Leipzig, mainly because of the whole thing wanting to play under Nagelsmann. But I wouldn't bring him in as a starter. But I think having him as a squad player is a good thing because he does get those chances and he can play with back to goal, give it straight to the midfielders, doesn't mess about a lot, has that simple aspect when he has to. And I think he's got a bit of character about him as well. I think I've seen some of those games like where he actually physically puts himself about, challenges for the ball a lot as well as a forward. But again, I've got to watch more of him. But from what I've seen, I wouldn't bring him in as a starter. I'd bring him in for under 20 million euros. I'd buy him and bring him as a second option.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because I feel like now, since all this Ronaldo stuff has come out of the blue, we're just getting linked to players out of nowhere, just because people in the media are probably thinking, Jesus, United need to sign a striker here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We missed out on Núñez, we missed out on Haaland. Now Ronaldo's going, Cavani's gone.
Yeah.
We're just getting linked to all these players out of nowhere.
I don't know as much as you about him. I looked at his numbers, seen a little bit of him, was watching some videos earlier. I know that doesn't tell you the full story, but I quite like the idea of Erik ten Hag knowing these players and going, here's a bargain, here's someone worth taking a punt on. We've said it all along, too often at United, we wait until the 20-year-old has gone to the Premier League club, then see what he does, then we'll buy him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or the 20, do you know what I mean? Yeah. We'll go and wait and see. We won't get Wan-Bissaka when he's had a good first season or good half a season.
So
we'll wait
an example, best example is Rafinha for me. The season he was moving, he was exactly what United needed, left-footed. And then once he's got Leeds, you're not going to get him off Leeds.
You're not going to exactly.
Leeds, yeah.
And we've waited. We did it with Maguire to a certain degree. Waited a season. We did it with Wan-Bissaka. Maybe it was worth it, but he had a very good sort of first dozen games, didn't he, for Palace, man of the match against us. Do you take a punt? No, we'll wait. Then we end up paying 50 million, and now, from what I gather, he might even be out the door for half of that. And it seems like we've always sort of waited and then gone in. We don't sort of take a punt on some of these players early. And don't get me wrong, now and again, you do need to wait. You do need to sort of wait and see whether they can hack it at the top. But sometimes you have to take a little bit of a risk. I mean, it pains me to say it, but Liverpool have done it quite well with certain players.
It's always that range of 20 million to 40 million spending.
Yeah.
And I think when a player doesn't work out, which for them, it's not often, to be honest, a lot of the players that come have a role and make an influence in a team, it doesn't really bite you as much. But when you're paying over 60, 70 million for players that you've waited for seasons to get, and now when you've got those players, sometimes, what's happening with United, this is the worst thing, they'll plan to sign a player, and then they won't sign him that summer, they'll sign him the summer after. And the whole situation's unsettled. You don't know if the manager's staying or the manager's been sacked or you got a new manager. It's like the same thing with Paul Pogba. As much as he's got to take the blame for a lot of what happened, he's never had that time to work under one manager.
No stability, is there?
Exactly. And
I think it was not just Pogba, I think it was all our players.
Yeah.
Who's getting coached? Who's getting made into a better player at Manchester United over these last 6-7 years? Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial, they could have been moulded into superstars. And they've just
I don't think Pep or Klopp would have allowed them to tail off the way they did. No chance. People can talk about these players as much as they want.
They might have had a ceiling, they might have done. Yeah. But you look at someone like Sterling goes to City, Pep works with him, he gets the best out of him, he finds a system that sort of can help him. You look at other players as well, the way they've been nurtured. A lot of them, when they go to Leicester, they tend to have a good sort of time of it there. At United, different managers, different positions. You're in the team, you're out of the team, you're on loan, you stay in. It seems like a bit of a mess. On Paulo Dybala, years ago, in full-time Devil days, we got sent this chant for Paulo. And I'll be honest with you. I want us to sign Paulo Dybala just for this chant. Can we bring this chant up? This is what someone sent in as a voice note to us on the old Full-Time Devils podcast. See if we can get this up. And
oh, it's Paulo Dybala, the little Argentinian magician. Yes, it's Paulo.
Hey.
Paulo Dybala. He's better than Mane and Sane and Salah. Yeah. We fell in love.
That's the sort of thing that you see on Out of Context United.
You know what? Well done, mate. Well done.
This is what Jay.
So there you go. I don't know about you, but that's convinced me. Get him signed just so we can sing that on the Stretford end. On a more serious note, though, if we got Dybala and Brobbey, does that sort out the attack?
Oh, that's so difficult.
I know it is,
because I know most people in the comments are gonna go, that is not gonna work. That's like a joke. Like our options are gonna be limited. But we don't know what the plan is from Ten Hag in terms of. I don't know. Maybe like he uses Rashford as a centre forward. Maybe like when you actually look at his goals to game ratio, is very decent when he's played as a 9. Because when Zlatan got his ACL in that game against Anderlecht, straight off in that game, Rashford scored that finish with his left foot.
Yeah.
Then Celta Vigo away scored the free kick. Then Celta Vigo at home found Fellaini in a back post. Then Ajax in the final didn't like score or anything, but he caused Ajax a lot of problems. That De Ligt after the game a year later was saying, you know, he's one of the toughest forwards I've ever faced.
Yeah.
In Rashford. And I remember even after that with Zlatan's injury, Chelsea at home, the goal, you know, where Herrera was marking Hazard that day. And like, whenever he's actually played at centre forward, his numbers have been good. So maybe if it's a proper like manager who can play around that, maybe he has a plan for him as a centre forward. We don't know. If we look at his most recent, like, not consistent patch, but say 4 to 5 game patch was, we played Leipzig at home, got the hat trick. Newcastle away, which I think was one of his best games in recent years. I know it's just Newcastle, but the one where I think he assisted Bruno.
Hey, producer Ethan there's shaking his head.
My bad, Ethan.
Don't apologise.
I know you drew to us.
It's lucky to be here.
But I think it was we might have beat them 4-1. I think there was a goal where he's waiting, then Bruno makes the run, slides him in. Then gives it Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right, and then brilliant finisher. Like he's actually got the given.
Those
goals.
last 10 minutes against
that.
Newcastle that day were mint, weren't
and
they? Because it had been a very frustrating afternoon, and it came to life. Anyway, I'm going to get into some of the chats and the super chats, but first of all, I need to talk to you about a very serious thing. There we go.
A very
because
serious
it's very serious because it's officially summertime. And everyone talks about looking good for summer, don't they? Yeah? Looking good for the warmer months. But few people have the balls to do it. Well, it's time. You stitch me off again, you lot. It's time to nut up or shut up and take the easiest steps to looking sexy this summer by using Manscaped. Don't you shake your head and cover your eyes. You're in this. You're involved. By using Manscaped. Manscaped's ultra smooth package makes sure you have the proper care for down there, like it rhymes. And their Boxers 2.0 gives you the perfect stage to show off your new look. Yeah, very Shakespearean. These products make you look hot, but your cleanly shaved nethers will keep you cool. And the Boxers 2.0 patented pouch, TM, technology, will keep your boys from turning any beach day into a swamp day. I mean, whoever's written this deserves a Pulitzer. Dive headfirst into summer by joining the 4 million, that's right, 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped's trademark.
I'm one of them.
Yeah,
Me too.
we all are. We're 3 of the 4 million.
Our trust
is
in Manscaped.
We trust Manscaped, and we use the code HOWSOON by going to manscaped.com/HOWSOON, and you get 20% off and free shipping because we all know we've all been there when we've had accidents, where we've had these little nicks and cuts, where we've tried to, use a knife or whatever, or use whatever you use to shave your chin, you've tried to use on your balls, and it's not the same, is it? We don't
include
need that.
me in that. I don't do that.
Well, no, not anymore, because you've got Manscaped. But thanks to this sort of specialised, ultra smooth package, it's a simple 3-step effort, right? It's a 3-step process. Yeah, so step 1, crop exfoliator. Infused with ingredients that can soothe, clear, and keep the skin on and around your groin feeling refreshed. The crop exfoliator can help reduce the risk of ingrown hairs in your delicate places, because no one wants that. Step 2, crop gel. Yeah? To see where you're shaving with our unique shaving gel just for the groin. It's been so long since I've used any form of gel. It's great to use it down there. Step 3, it's time to shave. The crop shaver was designed for shaving the groin area with confidence, yeah? Because there's nothing worse than shaving it on your own, but when you're shaving it with confidence, it's much better. The razor has 3 precision blades, including extra wide lubricating strips and a pivoting head for the ultimate groin grooming experience, yeah?
What an experience it is, by the way.
It's ultimate.
Oh my God.
Yep. So once you have, what's that? Once you have your hog was like a pig.
As in like a hog roast.
Yeah. Once you have your hog in prize-worthy condition, grab yourself a pair of the Manscaped Boxers 2.0. They are ultra soft, moisture wicking, cooling, anti-chafing masterpieces fit for a king and made for your royal scepter. Yeah? And there's a word or a sentence I never thought I'd say when
I like that you've hired on here.
When I went into journalism and presenting. This is poetry in it. Yeah, this is very. It's such wonderful prose, honestly. So make sure you get 20% off and free shipping by using the code HOUSIN, manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the code HOUSIN at manscaped.com. There are so few perfect summer days. Don't let hot, sweaty balls ruin them. Stay fresh, clean, and smelling good with Manscaped.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, and in case you're wondering, I made all that. I was just off the top of my head. I want you to do that.
He was staring into space thinking about what to say.
About the pros that I needed to get the point across how much I love.
That's why the hashtag one. Journalist.
Yeah.
Noel of Manchester.
James Wood in the super chat says, lads, which 3 players from the Prem era United would you bring back to improve defence, midfield and attack? For me, Gary Neville, Keano and Rude. Right? Keano and Rude, yeah. If I had a defender I could bring back for the Premier, it'd be Gary Neville.
Poor Gary Neville.
It wouldn't, though.
We need a right back, though.
Yeah, but you like...
No.
If you're going to bring back a defender, bring back Rio or Yap Stam.
We just got Malacia.
Yeah.
We might be getting Martinez. Got Varane. We need Gary Neville right back.
I mean, Keano and Rude's great shout. I think Keano's probably... It's paper-thin margins between him and Brian Robson.
Rude in this team would be...
Yeah.
Rude under Ten
Or
Hag.
Bruno giving him balls. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Just...
Is that who would you go for then? I think that's a really good question.
Was it free?
Yeah. Defence, midfield,
Any
and
team.
attack.
Any United team.
Well, he said United.
So I'm having
Premier
Vidic.
United.
I'm having Vidic.
Vidic.
I'm having Scholes.
Scholes.
And up top, I'm having RVP. No. Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney.
Oh, can't argue with that.
Do you know why? Do you know why I won't get Rooney?
Why?
Just because I think we got Bruno, and it's just like. Do you
Yeah,
see that?
number 9
do you see
Wayne
that,
Rooney.
Like, I feel like
Playing
with
with number
Rooney,
9.
just gives you that
Bit-
all-action attacking line thing,
Yeah.
and Bruno does a bit of that now and it. Like, I'm not saying obviously like
Yeah, bit of link-up play.
I would sell
Imagine
Bruno
that.
and bring Rooney, obviously.
I'd
But like, I'm
go
saying
on.
from what this squad needs most.
I'd probably go.
You are right, to be fair. Goal scorer.
I'd have Yap Stam, Veron, and Dion Dublin.
Veron.
For that
Nice.
perfect
We've just
ball
lost Pogba.
symmetry. Through the middle there.
Dion Dublin.
Yeah, think
I was
of it.
taking it
Stam
seriously
to
until I
Veron.
heard
If you're
Dion
Dion
Dublin.
Dublin with Eric Ten Hag looking on, that is a boldest dream. That.
If you're David De
Honestly,
Gea,
I mean,
all
in
very
between the
good
defenders,
ball
you can just see
players.
bald head.
And Bard says as well, if I can have a keeper, get him in goal.
He was
Tell you
so
what,
bad.
I don't care if we lose every game. I'm loving it.
I'm not gonna lie though, I would maybe get Yap Stam. He was insane.
Maybe Yap Stam's the best defender.
No, but I'm thinking it's him or Rio, innit? But
Yeah.
Rio's.
I wish I remembered
I
Yapstam.
like Rio,
Just a bit
though.
too young, but like, I just wish I do. Because
Yeah,
he was unbelievable.
ridiculous.
Have you seen like that Legends game that they played at Old Trafford? I think it was just before COVID.
Was he playing?
It was against. Oh, he was fucking sick in that game. Like the thing is with Yap Stam, when you actually go back and watch like just any footage of any game he's in, he's just dominant on the ball, dominant off it. Like he was the complete defender from day one.
Yeah.
Like he had everything.
That was like
And
an
I think
era
that-
when Dutch players were like that.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
just,
They
well,
was
they still are, but
technically
like
so good.
they were like of that ilk, one of the first people to do that.
But yeah,
Nations.
for me, I would get. You know what? I'd say Rio. I'd have to have Rio at centre back.
Yeah.
Midfield's a weird one. It might be Roy Keane. We need a DM. It would be Roy Keane. you know?
yeah.
Be Roy Keane and then 9. I think we'd need a 9. I think I'd go Rude. Yeah, it'd have to be Rude.
Rude was elite.
Can you imagine?
Rude would
Rude
just
was
finish
elite.
chances,
Can you imagine
man.
Keane though playing with like Fred? He'd lose his
I
head,
don't
wouldn't
know,
he?
you know. Like, I think if you had someone like
Keane and Frankie.
because Keane would just go grabbing hold of the ball and giving it to others. I think it could work. Do you know what I mean? And also, Keane's he's one of those that just increases everyone's levels around him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He just gets everyone on the toes. That was what he was good at. He's not just a fantastic footballer, and his touch was very good. People forget that he could score some important goals, and obviously he got hold of the ball. But it's that driving force of making sure that
he was
everyone
such an
around
angry man.
Yeah,
That everyone just thinks that's all he had. But he was technically really
fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't play however many games you play for Manchester United, winning all those titles, winning Champions Leagues, winning FA Cups, winning everything, if you cannot play football very well.
You know what? An underrated one would be Carrick, Michael Carrick in this team. I think that last season the last season with Sir Alex, he was unreal. When he played from deep, those passes over the top. I think when he finally come into that role, Scholes had started moving on and whatever.
I think Carrick is more appreciated now than he was in his time.
Yeah,
I actually
definitely.
think people didn't rate Carrick as much.
I think 12-13 season people started. I think if you remember that.
I remember once
very
against
good
Chelsea. I'm sure it was against Chelsea. He was getting booed for passing it backwards.
Really?
Honestly, we went through a stage, and I might be getting this conflated, but I think I'm right. When we had Cleverley and Anderson in midfield, right? And I can't remember if Carrick came on or he was playing or whatever. And I remember him passing. He had this reputation. A few fans were like, he's too negative. He don't get forward enough. And he passed it backwards, and I remember a few people booing, reacting to it.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Towards the end, people went, actually, this guy.
Because that season's when, do you remember that Chicharito assist against Chelsea? I think we'd just been knocked out against Real Madrid in the Champions League.
Oh, I pinged it over
and then
the
we
top.
played Chelsea the week after, pinged it over the top to Hernandez. Just right on his head.
Soda Zorro says, if we win the
Carrick
league
was.
this season, Jay should get a tattoo. I'll do that. If we win the league, I'll get a tattoo.
You won't be getting a tattoo.
Yeah.
Simple
I'll get
as.
a massive tattoo on my neck. If you could have, this is to both of you. I'll start with you. So you've got a bit of extra time to think about it. A defender, midfielder, and an attacker for Manchester United this summer. Realistic targets, who would you go for?
Wait, defender,
Realistic.
midfielder, attacker.
Yeah.
So Martinez is
Defender, yeah.
defender.
Yeah.
I think I've always liked Martinez. And the reason why I actually want to talk a bit about Martinez is because he actually gives you the element of his first season, he played a bit in midfield for Ajax, and he can actually play there. And he's like one of them players that comes in as that natural centre-back / DM that can just sit and do everything and allow the other midfielder to progress. So I think Martinez, Frankie, of course, just get it done. And I think now it's realistic. And the reason why I say Frankie, because I think he's such a talented player. You can't pass up on a player who's so press resistant, quick on the turn, progressive, of that high ability technically, that if you have a Martinez now, he can play DM as well. If you want to pair them in midfield, you've got an option. And I think even if you pair him with a Fred, or I know a lot of people don't enjoy watching McTominay or whatever. And I know everyone's got a big agenda on him, but there's these games where you get the big games where you just say, all right, McTominay, you just win the ball.
Yeah.
Give Frankie the ball, he does all the work. So he can sort of take that element where he's got that technical ability to take away the pressure from some of these players and allow them to just do the dog work, allow them to do the ball winning. In terms of the forward line, someone realistic, that's a difficult one, I think as much as we spoke about Brobbey and Dybala, I think they're not ones that you want ideally as the main strikers. They're just options there. If you get them, you get them. I think if Ronaldo leaves, if he's not gone PSG, Skamaka, I'm a big fan of. I think what I've seen from him is he's a big presence. I think he can actually play the ball to his feet. He's got a bit of character about him as well. Another player I think that would be actually all right. I think if you can turn him into a proper box nine in the way that Haller played under Ten Hag because of his presence and his physicality, he'd settle into the league well. And I think he'd give you a different dynamic to, even if you are to play Martial in as well, or you play Rashford as a centre forward, he would be a completely different dynamic to that. So mine would be Skamaka, and I think a wild one, I would have said Tammy Abraham. I know people are going to shoot me down for this.
You do like Tammy Abraham,
I've
don't you?
always been a fan of Tammy Abraham, and I think he continues to prove my point with him, because when you look at him this season with Jose, we know how Roma play in terms of under Mourinho, under Mourinho, any team really. The forwards are always sort of feeding off scraps. There's a lot of times where he's got the ball solely by himself. He's dribbling, taking players on, then holding up and turning. I think it's improved his game a lot to play in the style that Jose does. And sometimes he's had half a chance a game and he's scored. And I've been massively, massively impressed with how he's kicked straight on at Roma, honestly. Yeah. And I would get shot down for this a lot, but I'd stick by. I think Tammy's going to be, in the next couple of years, one of those nines where people are like, where did this come from? But I think it's been building up with him the last couple of seasons. I just don't think it's a realistic signing.
Do you worry that like, because he's just done well in Italy, he could do something similar to Lukaku, where he'd come back to England and he wouldn't be able to.
I think he was good
hit
at
the heights.
Chelsea. That's the thing. I think that season, the season before Tuchel had come, I think he was actually good at Chelsea, and I'm pretty sure he was their top scorer in the Champions League the season they were left before they got into the knockouts. And the season before, I think what hurt him was he'd got injured at Valencia away, and Frank Lampard then played him at Leicester. Then he got like hooked in the middle of the game. Once that injury had got to him, I think that's when his season tailed off. But at the start of that season, he was scoring goals. He got that hat-trick against Wolves. He had a couple of decent performances. Remember the game out against us at Old Trafford, I think, where he hit the bar, where they were battering us, but we won 4-0. I don't know how.
It
was really good.
And
that was his first
Just
proper game,
shouldn't have
like
been
back
4-0.
with Chelsea. And I think that first 3, 4, 5 months up until that injury he got, and then Chelsea kept playing him, and he was getting hooked in like 20, 30 minutes. I remember it was Leicester away in Valencia. They kept playing with him in injury, and I think that hurt him a bit. But I've always rated him from that period.
He scored 15 Premier League goals that season.
Yeah,
Really?
For Chelsea.
And how many appearances?
34 games, 15 Premier League
Too
goals.
bad.
I mean,
Because like you said, he'd been getting hooked off and stuff.
Yeah, and Lampard's first season as well. Like the squad.
He's also,
wasn't really there.
he's had decent spells in the
Well, yeah,
Championship.
Scamacca,
and
Tammy,
obviously
for
decent
me.
spell very good spell for Roma in Syria.
Not even Brian Brobbey.
I think those guys are just like, they're
For
just
his name.
Brian Brobbey just for his name, but I think those guys are just like last minute options.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they're not ideal. Like, I do like Brian Brobbey. Like, again, like I've liked Dybala in the past and stuff. It all depends on how Ten Hag uses them. But you say his most ideal situation, a young centre forward. There's not exactly one that stands out for you in the market, is there? Like you look at Haaland's gone. You said it earlier. Like Nunes is gone.
Yep.
Who's really out there? And I think Tammy, Scamacca, like. There isn't really much out there if you're looking for a proper number 9. So
it worries me a bit because there is no sort of, like you said, those kind of players are gone. It worries me again that United will like panic into buying someone, giving them like a 4-year deal, and then if it doesn't work out, we're just stuck with another player.
Yeah,
do you
we've
know
done
what I mean?
that way too much,
That is actually like a risk.
Yeah, no, it
careful
is
about
what
that.
we do, innit? I mean, we've ended up, in some ways, we've got a little bit lucky sometimes. In the past when we've done that, we've managed to shift some players on. Took a bit of a hit with him, like Lukaku, we took a hit on Di Maria, we took a hit on.
One I forgot
Memphis.
about, though, who I actually really, really like is Victor Osimhen from Napoli.
Someone in the chat was just saying
big
him.
fan of Victor Osimhen as well.
Daisy says, won't get Days. Sorry, not Daisy. Days. Won't get Osimhen. Too much money. 100 million is putting in
That's
brackets.
the issue. Napoli just always, they did it with Koulibaly, innit? When they find their star man or like the main guy, they're like 100 million price tag, and it just scares everyone off, and then they don't leave.
He's still there.
Because
Isn't
didn't they pay big money for him to get him? Napoli.
I'm not
Koulibaly?
sure. I think they
No,
might.
Osimhen. Didn't they?
Was he at Lille?
He was at Lille.
Yeah, I think he's really good at Lille as well.
Yeah, he went.
Pretty sure
He went
pretty big
to Napoli for a club record fee of 70 million euros, potentially rising to 80 million euros.
That's pretty mad
He was
for
because I remember
Napoli.
that the
He was
most
good, he was good at
expensive African transfer to date. So you're not getting him for pennies, are you?
Yeah,
if you want him,
and
you know.
he's honestly a really good player. Like I'm a big fan of him. But again, I think he's one of them that I blanked out simply because of the price tag as well.
Yeah.
You know, United, like it's like the whole thing we were talking about this with David, the Nunes thing. United weren't in a game. As soon as Benfica was saying 100 million.
Because it's going to eat up your budget, and there's a whole squad to build.
We can't afford to spend 100 million quid on a striker. We haven't got the budget. We should have.
We should.
If we didn't
but
have those
again,
parasitic
it is what it is.
owners bleeding us dry, and we should be able to go into this transfer market giving Eric Ten Hag 250 million quid to spend, but we're giving him half of that much.
We should have been able to go, here's Nunes,
Because-
here's Frankie.
Yeah, we should have.
That's what you want.
Yeah, we should have, because that's what it needs and that's what it's going to take to get us challenging where we should be challenging again. But instead, we have to put up with the nonsense of, you know what, I say nonsense, but it's frustrating because when you say it out loud, 130 million sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But when you look in the context of where Manchester United are, what improvements we need, what our rivals are doing, not just City and Liverpool, but Spurs and Arsenal and all these other clubs around us who are bringing in a lot of players, it's just not enough. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Dre, thanks for coming on again. Where can people find you?
You can find me on the old social media at Dr. Adre LB. It's just Dre.
Are you an actual doctor though? Can we message you for medical advice?
I'm a doctor of philosophy, so
Really?
not medical. Nah, but
I thought you were gonna say like I've got a PhD in philosophy. Then
I don't.
You don't. So you're not.
I thought we were going to run with it.
You've not got a doctor.
I thought we were going to go.
A doctorate in
I'm
anything.
not a doctor.
Right. Okay. Right,
I'm not a doctor.
I wanted to get you to look
I'm
at
a mister.
I wanted to get you to look at something, but it don't matter now. Go on.
What was it?
I'll save
Under
it
the
for,
table.
I'll save it for my GP. Abdullah, where can people find you?
Abdul GH
You're
underscore
going to be on
Twitter.
air, aren't you, during pre-season as well?
Yes.
You're going to be doing a few
Hopefully,
bits for us. We're going to be on pre-season as well. We're going to be in Thailand. We're going to be in Melbourne. We're going to be in Perth. We're going to be in Norway. We're going to be all over this, so don't you worry. So make sure you are subscribing to the channel as well. We're going to have loads of content coming out from over on the pre-season tour. We're going to be speaking to journalists, going to be speaking to ex-players, going to be doing all that stuff. We're going to be here as well, so you're going to have the watch-alongs, the previews, the reviews. We've got you covered, so don't miss out on any of that. Make sure you hit subscribe. Big thanks to Manscaped as well. Go and check out the code there. I think it's Housen, Manscaped/Housen. You get 20% off and free shipping. Go and check these guys out on the socials. You know where to find me as well. This has been The Brew. Thanks for watching.